Hello and welcome all to our presentation with Diono. We're going to be talking a little bit about how Diono leveraged Oracle's planning and budgeting cloud service for both their financial planning and for sales forecasting. You'll see on there it says PBCS. That's the acronym that we'll be using for Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service, just because that's quite a mouthful. I'm Scott Costello, a director of the Cloud Services Group for Key Performance Ideas. We are an Oracle certified cloud partner and an implementer of the Hyperion technology or Enterprise Performance Management. I'm very pleased to be joined today by Emily Baird. Emily is substituting in for Brett Dyer, who had a last-minute conflict. But Emily is a senior accountant for Diono and is the primary administrator for PBCS. She's a CPA, and prior to joining Diono, worked at a couple of Fortune 500 companies, including DaVita and Kenworth. She has a tremendous amount of experience with financial systems and was really a key part of why this project was successful. So thank you, Emily, for joining us today. What I was going to walk through and have Emily walk through as well is really help educate everyone on how Diono went about implementing Oracle's offering around PBCS and how we were able to support that with key performance ideas. So we've already done a little bit of the introductions. I know most folks want to hear from Diono specifically, from Emily specifically, and where they were, why they chose the technology, what's their current state, and talk a little bit about lessons learned. After Emily's presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the technology itself, PBCS, or Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service, just so everyone has a good understanding of it, and how PI Performance Ideas go about approaching these implementations. And then at the end, we're going to open it up for questions. We'll be doing that via the chat, so feel free to go ahead and ask questions along the way. All right, so to get right into it, we're going to start by talking about Diono's case study, but I thought I'd give you guys all a quick introduction on Diono and a little bit of background on what they do. So Diono is a global manufacturer and distributor of travel solutions for parents of children, creating safe car seats on the market today. So you can see some of the car seats. Anyone who's ever had to use one of these or purchase one of these, Diono kind of lead market in top quality, high-end production of these types of car seats. They have offices located all over the world, including the U.S., U.K., Canada, France, Germany, and China. So obviously doing business in multiple currencies. Those are just their offices, but they sell the products to over 57 different countries. Their general ledger is SAP B1, and they're privately owned and operated since 1999. So with that quick introduction of what we're going to be talking about today, I wanted to hand it right over to Emily so she could talk a bit more about the project from her perspective and allow, obviously, the audience here to ask questions along the way. So with that, Emily, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. Yes, we've certainly enjoyed working with Hyperion PBCS and with KPI as we've implemented it over the last several months. You know, I'm an accountant, but my passion is looking for ways that technology can make accounting better, and Hyperion has definitely done that for us. I've been very happy with the reporting abilities Hyperion has brought us, and with the increased functionality we are planning on using it for in the future. So to kind of talk about our older processes and where we were at before, all of our reporting was done through direct links in Excel based on formulas. And one of the main problems with this was, well, first of all, it was very tedious in loading. The links would break all the time. it was difficult to actually send files with data to other people and have them be able to view it successfully. Also, our forecasting budgeting process was very, very manual. There is significant time invested in just creating and aggregating numerous spreadsheets from all of our business offices around the globe. Also, to one of the more complicated portions of the forecasting budgeting process was our sales and cost planning, customer and SKU level. In order to gather this specific information, again, it was very tedious to have all of that low-level detail listed in spreadsheets and then require additional spreadsheets to apply logic with different factors to arrive at the aggregate total numbers. Our financial statements and reporting packages were done all in Excel using the links I referred to before. And the time required just for the numbers to generate within the Excel environment was significant. And then on top of that, in order to, if we wanted to save these numbers and make sure we shared them around, we either had to save it as PDF or print out a hard copy. So basically, kind of that's where we're saying, okay, our processes are less than ideal, and we need something that will give us greater efficiency, especially since being a smaller company. We certainly don't have a very large accounting department that can have all this extra time. So after looking at different options, saying, okay, what solutions are out there, both server-based and cloud-based, we decided that Oracle PBCS was the best option for us, definitely for a number of reasons. First of all, we do not have our own internal IT department. And being a cloud-based system, it didn't require us to hire in IT personnel or already have one. The cost investment of this technology is in the software and the expertise of KPI's consultants. So no overall hardware investment was needed, which is also good because as we are a rapidly growing company, the expansion capabilities of this software is pretty much unlimited at this point. The subscription approach also allows us to spread out the cash flow to better match the time over which the benefit is received for our company. Going on here. Also, the accessibility issue for us is important because as a whole we are rather decentralized, and we need our people to be able to access this information wherever there's an internet connection, and not be worried about server connections. And then, as a database whose primary interface is through Excel, Hyperion PBCS has been a lot easier to train other people on, as well as to get them to even buy into using it in the first place. The relative implementation time and cost was also significantly less than other solutions we looked at, and certainly less than server-based solutions. So now that our PBCS database has been live for a couple months, we have been seeing a number of significant process improvements that has helped us out in a number of ways. First of all, Hyperion is a dimensional-based database, and it is not directly linked to SAP, but our data integration process is still completely automated with no manual steps required. The aggregation of the data can occur instantaneously, just click of the button, and it's aggregating at every level, every dimension, in any way we want it to. Also, one of our processes was the exchange rates. At being a global company, we need, of course, are consolidating to our reporting currency of the U.S. dollar. Our old processes were requiring a series of spreadsheets to handle that, and also to store the data, which leads to potential errors in data integrity, manual manipulation. This way, with PBCS holding our historical currency rates and then automating the translation and consolidation process, we can be sure that the data is consistent and it maintains its data integrity. So where our budgeting forecasting process is at now is completely unrecognizable from where it used to be. It has come so far by using PBCS. We've almost completely automated the process with only bottom-level core data entered in one simple standardized form. Aggregations, calculations involving logic created by multiple factors, translation into reporting currency is all done by business rules and connected forms. Standard reports are updated with just a click of the button, and so this has been kind of wonderful. As instant you load up your data, you can see, okay, where are we at? How does this change our outlook? How does this affect, maybe other decisions we need to make in other areas of the budget? So if we go to the next slide. So this slide just kind of shows some of the, puts more of a numerical quantification on the benefits we've received. Again, the efficiency produced by the system has greatly increased our capabilities, not only of the tasks already on our plate that we need to get done right now, but also, how much more can we produce for the various departments that are actually making business operational decisions. Our integration consolidation, the operational performance, how fast the speed of the connection, the speed of the business rules is lightning fast. No complaints there. Our financial reporting now can be continuously refreshed as needed and very quickly done. Forecast preparation. This was done about once a year in the past, and now, as soon as that base data is loaded, there's basically next to no calculations required, next to no manual consolidations. It is completely automated. Our budget calculations, budget aggregations, we were using many spreadsheets. Oftentimes, they were not uniform in their appearance, and so this has solved all of that. So the next few slides kind of show some screenshots of actual forms we have in the cloud environment. The first one here just displays our controllable expense forecasting and budgeting form. This allows you to stay on one form and enter data for any entity, and within that, any cost center, as well as if another one of our General Ledger Code components is the product type. And so we just put in our base data there. It aggregates it by category totals as well as by the period totals. This form is our primary sales casting form, a forecasting form. And again, this is in the cloud environment. These forms can also be put into Excel in S.M.A.R.T view. Basically, in the bottom section, we can enter sales prices. We can enter one sales price for the whole year or multiple sales prices. This is entered by entity and by customer. And then, of course, the quantity units expected to be sold in each month. The aggregations are done instantly, as well as the additional components are then calculated, derived off of that data, plus additional data provided, such as freight percentages anticipated, anticipated exchange rates. All of that can be stored, and these calculations then for your whole gross margin roll-up is instantaneous and automated. And then we are, of course, using a S.M.A.R.T View application, or add-in, I should say, in Excel to produce our financial reporting package. This allows us to have pre-set up data polls where all I have to do is modify one variable for the current month, and then click refresh, and instantaneously my data package, my financial reporting package, is updated just like that. And this has allowed us, it's very nice to work with because it's very flexible in making things appear the way you want them to, as well as allowing to kind of that aggregation at different levels, whether you want to report at account level or you want to report at just asset level or asset category level. Anyway, so very happy with the S.M.A.R.T View add-in in Excel. So obviously we get to the end of our implementation period, or at least the initial one, and there are certainly some things that, okay, if I went back, probably would have done a little differently, or involved different people and steps earlier in the process. One of the overall primary key things to implementing something like Hyperion that is personalized for your data coming out of your systems is that, okay, you need to understand, okay, how is your data currently coming out of the systems? How are you reporting your data? And then, of course, okay, now that you're implementing something like Hyperion PBCS, what additional reporting functions or options would you like to implement? And so understand the dimensional database structure and how your data translates into that and how it can work best for you is very important, because if you create it one way and then halfway through you're saying, oh, guess what, actually our data needs to do this, it can, of course, those modifications will continue to be done, but it might push out your deadline a little longer. Also, make sure you allocate enough time and resources for data validation. This is important because you might think it's simple to, hey, I just pull my data out of my old system, I'm just going to load it into this new database, everything's good, right? However, there's quirks about your data, nuances that you might not be aware of, or even inconsistencies in your old data, errors that you may not be aware of until you put into an environment like Hyperion that completely automates and takes out that human error element. This was certainly the case for us, and there's more time spent in data validation than originally thought, but definitely worth it because you want to know that once that historical data has been loaded, it is completely 100% accurate. Also, with a system like this, again, you do not need an IT department. However, you definitely want to have someone in your organization who can act as a subject matter expert for Hyperion. In my company's case, that would be me. I specifically worked with Scott and another consultant from KPI in understanding, okay, first of all, how the aspects of a dimensional database, make sure I communicate with them questions regarding our data and how it comes out of the system and how it needs to be ultimately reported. The maintenance functions are relatively simple, but they do need to be done correctly. And just as a whole, if you have someone who is an expert on PBCS or essentially becomes an expert on that, which is easily done working with KPI, this will allow you to make minor modifications and not be completely reliant on external consultants getting back to you. Although we never had any problems, again, with KPI came back to us. So definitely excited about where Hyperion can take us in the future. We have, again, we're overall a decentralized organization, and even though our headquarters are in the United States, we have a lot of major people who aren't at the headquarters but scattered throughout, in addition to our international business offices. We are looking to, for our forecasting purposes, we want the salespeople to be able to directly input the quantities, take out the kind of intermediary of either dropping files off into a Dropbox location on your server or having to track emails full of large files. Instead, they can just take that one simple form in Excel, directly input that data, and your headquarters will be able to consolidate that data and have those results immediately. Also, now that our budgeting forecasting calculations and aggregations have been completely automated and the process time significantly reduced, we plan on implementing quarterly forecasting, which will hopefully allow for our product development teams, our marketing teams, to all have better data to make business decisions on, and of course, ultimately improve our company's performance. So, that's overall an overview of kind of what were our old processes, why did we need a new solution, why Hyperion is such a wonderful solution for us, and it has certainly worked out very well. And again, it's been wonderful working with KPI.
Thank you for that, Emily. Appreciate the kind words. And working with Diono was definitely a collaborative effort, which is kind of key for all successful projects as I've ever been on. And like Emily said, having someone who understands systems, understands the accounting, has a little experience in it was a huge help in this project. So having someone like Emily engaged really helped make it successful. So thank you again. I'm going to open it up for questions here in a little bit, but before I do that, I did want to introduce folks to some of the technology that we've been talking about. I also want to just explain kind of how we approach the implementation and just how KPI or Key Performance Ideas works with organizations specific to this technology. So just for a little bit of background, as mentioned, PBCS, or Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service, is the technology. What we do is we complement that with a rapid implementation solution. And then to round it all out, we have a managed service group that can help act as your administrator when you don't have the experts in-house to manage something like PBCS. So I'm going to talk about these three components quickly here, and then we'll get into some of the questions. So Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service is technology, just to explain what it is. It is cloud-based, obviously, so it's truly a software-as-a-service deployment model, which means you only need the licensing expense in order to deploy it. You don't need to buy the servers, install, anything like that. Oracle takes care of all that for you in their cloud environment that's been optimized specifically for this technology. What's great about it is it includes all the reporting, data integration tools that folks have become used to when you hear the words Hyperion. And as mentioned, not only is the infrastructure cost and servers eliminated, but they also do all the backups and the upgrades and patches for you automatically. So again, less long-term cost on a project of having to maintain the servers, having to maintain the technology and upgrade it at points in time. So quickly, some of the benefits here, the little screenshot of what it looks like. You get planning. It's a world-class Hyperion suite that you're familiar with, or most organizations are familiar with. There's over 4,500 customers using the Hyperion technology, so that is the core of this. It's the same technology that's always been, that's existed for over 14 years, just deployed in a different manner in their data centers. The big benefit is that this type of technology is owned by the line of business, even more so now, because you don't need to engage the IT team necessarily to do all the installs and maintain the servers and things like that. That's all the great reporting tools like Hyperion Financial Reports and S.M.A.R.T View for Office. It comes with the data integration tool, data management or FDM. There's also some built-in starter kits, demos, and guides in the application, even diagnostics to simplify administration. And as mentioned, some of the cost savings as well. And then two other pieces on PBCS itself is it is very flexible as well as secure. Flexible meaning as a user, you get to decide when the maintenance occurs every night, and so they do nightly backups or daily backups, depending on what window you choose, of your application. So one less thing you have to worry about. Patches can be applied within a 14-day window, and any major upgrade to the technology, you can decide in a 4-month window when you want to apply that. It's also secure too. Their data centers are managed by Oracle. There's no commingling of data, of customer data. Even Oracle themselves don't have direct access to your data. And you have dedicated teams specifically for the security that work as Oracle employees. And this isn't the first time Oracle is working in the cloud. They've actually have a lot of their applications, a lot of technology as we see more and more organizations moving to the cloud, and they've invested in it quite heavily. So you can see some of the information. Even this is probably a little dated as it's several months old, and their organization, Oracle, continues to invest more and more in data centers, more and more in storage, and continues to have more and more transactions on a daily basis. So that's a little bit of PBCS, Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service. I wanted to just spend a little bit of time talking about what we refer to as PLANtastic, and it's our quick start implementation solution. So what we do is, instead of really providing organizations with a cookie cutter application and say, here you go, this is what you start with, we approach it more as a unique methodology for implementation. So regardless of what your needs are, we'll do very flexible, small aspects of the project and then demonstrate and test those and update as the project progresses. So regardless of if it's sales forecasting, if it's operational planning, workforce planning, capital, what have you, we can make sure that this approach fits into those needs. So it includes implications by the global leading PBCS dedicated implementation team. So that's the team and the practice that I run. And we also encourage, obviously, the client's involvement. Emily's a perfect example of that, where she was able to stay involved through the project, as well as a couple other people on the team. But the key for us is really kind of starting with the end in mind. Where do you want to be? Where are you right now? And make sure that we're tracking towards that goal. for the folks at Diono, it was really to get them out of the manual processes, out of all the spreadsheet nightmares, and put them into a true, safe, secure, affordable technology that they could use and grow with. So we refer to this methodology as our agile approach. I'm sure a lot of folks are familiar with that agile implementation, but specifically what's included with our approach is we streamline our requirements, we create a functional design that can actually be used and loaded into the application. We have dedicated administrator training sessions throughout the project. The scope usually includes a finite number of dimensions, data forms, reports, calculations, integration, but it allows you to mix and match this as much as needed so we can play with these numbers as well as the functionality as required. And then it also includes implementation reviews, so wanting to make sure that everyone seems to be satisfied with the solution, so included in the overall cost of the project are these implementation reviews. So that's PLANtastic. That's our implementation approach that my team runs. The last thing I wanted to talk about is our managed service portion of key performance ideas to complement all this. And if you think of this in the context of you move forward with cloud-based technology like PBCS, you got a quick start implementation, you don't necessarily want to go out and hire folks with that expertise, or you want to at least have some support to your current administrators or folks assigned administrators, and that's what the managed service team does, or S.M.A.R.T team at KPI. So S.M.A.R.T stands for System Maintenance and Remote Troubleshooting. Really, it's a solution that we can provide all the application support, development level expertise at a pretty affordable rate. It's just an hourly rate, and we can make contracts to be as short or as long as needed. So it can be taken advantage of at the height of the budget season and maybe reduced later in the year, or with every monthly close, you can use that as well. But again, it's designed with the objective to structure the long-term support that aligns with the objectives of the organizations we're supporting. What's really key about this group is it's not a support line that you call and get a random person. You actually have an identified primary Oracle certified person. So you know that person by name, and you'll know their backup or the secondary person by name. These are folks on average with about 10 years of experience with this technology. So you know you're dealing with folks who lived and breathed this for quite some time. Some things that are included with the S.M.A.R.T program, everything from maintaining dimensions, helping with the close, loading data, running calculations, updating reports or data entry screens, managing security, troubleshooting any aspect of the application, even things around performance tuning, and user training. So if you needed some one-on-one and user training of the technology, we're happy to do that at any state. And then one-on-one help desk support as well. So those are really the three pieces of the puzzle for us. You have the technology in the cloud of PBCS, which gives you the software as a service, gives you the automatic patches and upgrades, the system monitoring. You have PLANtastic, our quick start implementation with some pre-built functionality, a focus on education and training. Then you have our S.M.A.R.T team, functional administrators that can help with everything from optimization to user support. Those are the three pieces of PBCS by Key Performance Ideas. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to questions. And for questions, as you can see here, you can go to the top of your screen and select the Q&A and send your questions to the host and presenter, and I will be reading some of those out. Okay, we got a fair amount of questions. Emily, are you ready?
Fire away.
Okay. So the first question is, how does the ad hoc reporting compare to other technologies that you've used in the past? I think that one's for you.
Well, I have worked with some much larger systems in the past, both ones that are some of the more high-end, up-to-date, such as Oracle, as well as very much older systems that rely on a lot of external applications that are updated manually. A lot of times, the consolidation would be completely manual with an older system. The reporting interface would be fixed, not very flexible, certainly not ad hoc in any way. I have worked with an older server-based version of Essbase in Excel, and although it had the flexibility, I would say the Excel interface has come a long way with the S.M.A.R.T view. S.M.A.R.T view provides not only the flexibility, but also the user-friendly, easy-to-understand interface. So as a whole, either there's a flexibility, but not user-friendly, or it was simple and user-friendly, but there was no flexibility and the functionality was extremely limited.
Perfect. So there's actually a couple questions on the implementation time. How long did the implementation take? Let's see, what was it, about 13 weeks? Was it a little over 3 months, Emily?
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, and I think what was interesting about the approach here is in an attempt to keep the cost down and keep travel costs down specifically. We were able to do a fair amount of the work remotely with WebExes and training sessions, regular check-ins, a few on-site visits, obviously, when needed at some key points in the project. But I think that helped keep expenses down as well. There's another question here on just describing the specifics of the application. It specifically goes on to say, can you describe the number of plan types, the number of SKUs, number of dimensions, number of clients? I can take part of that, and I'll let you talk to maybe the volume of information, Emily, in terms of
Sure.
SKUs and clients. But it was utilized 2 plan types, both BSO. One was focused more on the financials, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, while the other was very much focused on the item or SKU level detail with clients and entity information. So, do you mind commenting on the volume of those, Emily?
Oh, certainly. We have about 600 to 700 customers globally. We sell to other businesses who ultimately sell to the end user. Our SKU count is currently, I believe, we're a little over 1,000. And we technically have 8 separate entities in different countries to sell, of course, to customers in about 57 countries.